Kilted
Ball.
balls.
Yeah,
That's a good one.
that one was not bad. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Kilted Balls podcast. We have lots to chat about today. I don't know
Yes,
why we
yes.
have lots to chat about. It's not like a ton happened, but it's been a long time since we were on. A
But
little
we
bit.
had 2 odd weeks there.
We had two
So
odd weeks, but now we're back. We're back to normal.
until next week.
The last episode, sorry listeners for the echo and the bad sound in the last one. Probably because I was
I
right
didn't
next to
think it was
Kilted.
that bad. Did you think it was that bad?
I mean, I listened to it and it didn't sound great.
I listened to part of it, but
I was like, oh man. So I don't know. We have lots that I want to talk about today. So let's start. Well, let's start with the thing you and I were just commenting on. ETH right now, for any of you who are into crypto, which we are really into crypto. We are into crypto, but the podcast talked a lot about crypto. And Kilted, what did you just find out?
just hit over 1900 for ETH, which is pretty awesome.
Hit over 1900 for ETH. Now, here is the crazy thing, friends. And I'm going to tell you something that originally we said we liked because of Crypto Lifer, and we thought it was a great idea. And since then, we have found out we really don't like it. And I'm going to tell you why. And that is on our trading server, which is KuCoin. I really like KuCoin. I don't know how other people feel about it, but
I like KuCoin a lot.
there's people in the Uncaged who don't like it. They're really negative. I'm like, I like it. But they have tokens that are 3L and 3S tokens. And the way it works is if you aren't willing to trade futures, which have high risk, you can totally lose your butt on a future. I did today. They trade just like normal stocks, except they're 3Ls and 3Ss. So it's like trading a future without the risk. So you don't lose out on
And we've
this.
even had episodes where we are really excited talking about them.
Yes. And so one of our things we talked about before is this probably happened right after the Ethereum merge, or right before we said we're going to start focusing on only doing the 3Ss and 3Ls. And so I made a huge purchase before the merge when ETH was about $1,500. I think it was about $1,500.
Yep.
It was somewhere in that range before the merge, thinking it was going to get a big pump with the merge because people would be excited. It did not. It had a big drop. And I bought the 3L token. And I said, you know what? I don't care. It's a long-term hold. So I didn't get out of it. I just kept it and just waited, right? So what Kilted just told us is ETH is 1900, right? So for me, that means if I had bought it 1500, ETH itself would be up $400, which is let's see, 400 divided by 1500 is a gain of 26.7%. Because I bought a 3L token, and this was actually my plan, you multiply that by 3 because you get 3 times the gain when you do a future. So that would be an 80% gain for me, which is exactly what I wanted. I said, hey, I'm going to buy at 1500. I'm very convinced that within a year, even without the merge, I'm like, ETH is going to go back up to 2000. And when it goes back up to 2000, I'm going to make great money. But even right now, it should be at 80%. I am down right now 50%. If I had just bought ETH, I would be up 27%. But because I bought the 3L, and here is the thing. So first off, if you are buying 3L and 3S tokens, they're only for short term.
Yes,
fast.
Super short term.
Super short. And here's why. They realign the tokens every once in a while. So when ETH took a dump, they changed the L and reset its value, which made it so now to get back to even, it's going to have to skyrocket for me to just get to even.
Yeah.
So I have all that money tied up and I'm not anywhere close to even. So
yeah,
that's not exciting for me.
That's right? The part that really stinks.
That's the part that stinks. So personally, for me, I will not buy 3L or 3S tokens again. So, listeners, I would highly recommend you avoid those. Just do the futures. If you want to do a 3L or a 3S, just do the futures, set your stop losses. You'll be way happier. Way happier. I've been doing 10 S's and 10 L's, and I've been losing my butt lately. I was having a good streak and I've been losing my butt. And I was thinking about it just now, and I thought, I'm dumb. I should go to doing 3Ls and 3S's. And I almost did it with ETH today, and I would have come out.
Or even the 5. I mean, yes, it's still risky, but it's a lot less risky than a 10. Obviously, half. You could even set up the 3, which is, you know, even lower. And if it were to hit, just like you were saying, you'd be up 80% right now, as opposed to down 50. And so, yeah,
it's a killer. Okay, so listeners, I've been looking at getting a decanter for my whiskey. I have a whole plan. We've talked about the fact that I drink whiskey. So, like, you know, I have like little bottles of whiskey right next to my desk. And people know that a lot of times there's Jameson sitting right here. And so we went looking at Goodwills, not for any reason like being cheap. Like getting a decanter on Amazon costs like 15, $20. Like, whatever. But I thought there might be cool decanters at Goodwill. I was totally wrong. There was no good decanters at Goodwill.
So that one that we saw, was that, I must have saw that before I was there with you, before we were talking about it, because I almost bought the one, but I was thinking we were there together when I saw it, but it must have been.
What I thought about on the way home is I still didn't find them, and I looked some up on Amazon to see if I could find any. I'm like, wait a second, I am so dumb. I literally have tremendous amounts of glassware at work. So today I kind of went exploring. I didn't find exactly what I wanted at my work, but this is going to be my new decanter.
Awesome. That's sweet.
I think it looks cool. I love the fact, like, if you look at it, you see how the light's distorted. Right? So it's kind of like a, you know, like a thick blown glass container. I have.
Are you allowed to say what was in it before?
I have no idea. So I think this has been in there forever. I really washed it well. And then the thing is, I'm all out of whiskey like Jameson or Bushmills to put in it. And I'm not going to put Screwball in it.
You're going to put is that the one you're going to put the end of your bottles in?
Yeah. So anytime I have an end of a bottle, like this bottle has just a little bit left. So I'll start pouring them in. So then I'm like, oh, wait, in the freezer, I have that whiskey I really didn't like. And I was like, maybe I just don't remember it. So for anybody who is around, this is my American Fifth, which is a distillery in Lansing, Michigan. And it's their honey malt. And like at the time, they're like, oh, do you want to taste it? I'm like, how could it be bad? American Fifth makes good stuff, and it's a honey malt. It's probably going to be great.
You're wrong.
I was like horribly, horribly wrong.
So you're not going to use that to seed it, are you?
I can't decide.
Okay. I'd have to taste. I don't think I tasted it when I was there. So
I'm drinking it right now, and I'm like, maybe I misjudged. So I poured myself a glass. I'm drinking it. It's not as bad as I remember.
Okay.
Like when I first had it, I'm like, I'm never drinking this again. Like it's atrocious, right? But you know, I'm feeling better about it. Here's the thing. It's a honey malt. I can't taste any honey at all.
Oh, okay.
So that's weird.
So on a scale from marshmallow salad to like
excuse
Thai
me,
food.
It was popcorn salad. It was popcorn salad, which for those of you who might not know this, that is the worst food I've ever eaten. Popcorn salad, still the worst. And if you're like, really? Because popcorn salad sounds good. It's popcorn mixed with like mayonnaise with like marshmallows in it. And if you're like, that sounds sick, it was. I don't know what dumbass came up with that idea. But
yeah. Marshmallow salad didn't sound right, but I couldn't remember the other name.
No, it was popcorn salad. But yeah, so and then it tastes like, you know how if you get bad vodka, you get that alcohol taste, not the vodka taste. It's just like bad alcohol. That's the alcohol taste of this.
Okay.
So it doesn't even burn like a whiskey. It's like, oh, I just took a sip of vodka. So I
burns
think
like a bad liquor.
Yeah, I think when they distilled this, they just didn't do it right. So, you know, and then they're trying to make it sound like really good. And like the lady was like, oh yeah, that's one of my favorites. I'm like, this is nobody's favorite.
No accounting for bad taste.
That's a horrible taste. I mean, it's probably not the worst I've ever
Okay.
had. I can't think of a worse one right now.
Have you ever had Old Crow? You'd remember. You're taking too long to think about it.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think so. So now the question is do I seed it with a shitty whiskey? And I'm like, my plan was to go buy a bottle of Jameson and seed it with Jameson. I thought
Okay.
that'll be good. Jameson will probably absorb flavors pretty good. But then I remembered I had this in the fridge, and I'm like, I'm going to test it. And now I'm testing it, and I'm like, probably no.
Okay. I was gonna say if you were planning on seeding it with a full bottle anyways, I would maybe do it, but yeah,
Right, like go get a
you
bottle
have
of
it for a
Jameson.
while.
I think that sounds good. So anyway, people, I got my new decanter. If
That's
you have
awesome. I like that
ideas
decanter.
of what you think I should seed it with, shoot us a message. Like get with us on the Tweeterverse, put a comment in the video, hit like and
Hmm.
subscribe, and let me know what you think I should seed this with. Right now, I'm thinking Jameson. I might go with Bushmills, which is also one of my favorites.
How big
Um,
is that? That looks about the same size as like what you would buy.
I think this is a liter.
Okay.
So I think when you buy something like, I swear I'm not an alcoholic, people. Like this is 750 milliliters,
Hmm.
right? So the bottle's a little bit bigger. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Okay.
sure it's a liter.
So
That's
you'd have
normal for
some
me.
room to add a little bit, and if you took some out here and
Yeah,
there.
I could put a whole bottle in and I should have another 250 milliliters worth of space. And a little bottle like this is 200 milliliters.
Hmm.
And this is
Yeah.
like there's my hand, people.
Yeah.
So there's my hand, covers it pretty well. So size of my grip. So yeah. So anyway, yeah, gonna start my infinity whiskey and we'll see how it goes. Also, people, don't be afraid to send us whiskeys. Right.
And
So
never, yes.
it's never bad. You can even send us little airport bottles. You can be like, oh my
Hmm.
gosh, this
Little
is my
pocket
favorite
rockets.
whiskey ball buster. Try it. We'll talk about it on air.
Hmm.
Right. So maybe you're a distillery out there.
Oh yeah.
Like American Fifth. I just told you about American Fifth.
Hmm.
Silverback Distillery is one of my favorites. If I get a thing of theirs, I'll put it in there, but that's in Virginia, so probably won't. But yeah,
You don't necessarily make it over there.
I don't make it over there. Okay. So the big part of this episode, I don't know how far we are in it, but what I really wanted to talk about today was cars.
Hmm.
And please, people, before you shut this off, it's not like vroom vroom cars. Kilted and I are not car guys. So sorry if you're listening to this and you're a car guy. Um, I don't know if we've ever been into that. I don't know if you are. You've never talked about cars with me.
No, I enjoy looking at the older cars. I mean, my dad in it would have been shoot 80, I think 83. He had a chance to buy a car that he used to watch at a drag strip when he was a kid, like when he was a
Oh,
teenager growing up. So he took the money, he hitchhiked to Dayton, Ohio from Fowlerville, and he drove the car home.
wait, your
So
dad grew up in Fowlerville?
no, we were living in Fowlerville then.
Oh, okay, okay,
So he grew up in Dayton, Ohio. So he hitchhiked down there.
okay.
That's why I said he went from Fowlerville to Dayton, Ohio.
No, but I didn't know why he was in Fowlerville at all. I
This is
didn't.
Paul.
Oh, I didn't
We
realize
lived
he.
we
I
lived
know
in
where you
Fowlerville at
guys
that
lived, but I
time.
thought this was before that.
No, this I said I prefaced it. I said like 83. That's about when we
Yeah,
lived
you
there.
didn't. Well, that's like just when you moved to Fowlerville.
Anyway,
Just
so
second grade.
he loves cars, and I don't, and me and inanimate objects don't get along really well. Like if they don't do what I expect them to do, I get really frustrated fast. So cars fit into that. And my father is a big car guy too. So like I had fun like going to car swap meets, things like that. I always thought it'd be cool to have an old car, but especially with the Boxster now, I don't see that ever happening. I love my Boxster, but I do not love older cars.
And for me, I'll go to a car show, like if it's downtown, but I don't go out of my way to a car show.
Hmm.
Like I don't look at magazines of cars. Like that's not my thing. Um, I've been to like the Detroit Auto Show a few times. It's cool. Don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
It's cool.
Hmm.
And I used
It's
to
better than the Charlotte
race.
one.
Yeah, for sure. I used to race figure eight derbies.
Hmm.
So I'm not like I can work on cars. I can do stuff with cars. But I've never been a person who's like, oh my gosh, is that like a 450? Like whatever. I don't care.
Hmm.
Like I'm not. And we had a best friend, Jared Kilton and I did, who like he could see the headlights of a truck and tell you what kind of truck it was.
Hmm.
Like, and he had been able to since I think he was like 5. But like I'm not that guy. And Kilton's not that guy.
Yeah.
So point being, it's not that kind of episode.
Hmm.
But there are things we want to talk about. But before we do, Kilted, you talking about you and inanimate objects made me think of a conversation on the way home. So visited Kilted last week, and on the ride home, we were talking about Kilted's newest project. And I can't remember if we
Hmm.
talked about your project on here. Have we?
I don't remember if we
Okay.
did or not.
So Kilted has a building project that he's working on
Hmm.
at his warehouse, and he's doing some building. And my wife on the way, she's like, I'm really nervous about Kilted doing this stuff. And I'm like, really? I told him to make sure he like watches YouTube videos and maybe gets a book, and maybe I'll send him a book. And she's
Hmm.
like, yeah. She goes, I just don't know about trusting somebody who thought it was a good idea to bolt their hood onto their car with literal bolts.
It did not come off.
It did not come off. She's like, I don't know if I would trust that person to build. And I'm like, that's a valid point. And people, like, you've got to understand, when I say he bolted his hood on, literally had bolts 6 inches coming out of his hood with nuts holding his hood down. It
Hmm.
did not come off.
It did not come. Well, see, what had happened is I've not always been the safe driver I am now. I was a little more aggressive when I was younger, and I had rear-ended somebody. My fault, obviously, if you rear-end somebody. And then, so I had bungee cords holding my roof down. And I was actually, we used to do a lot of flea markets early on with the sheets and just some different products. So I was driving back Florida roads, and a big semi full of pigs. And if you can imagine how much wind that creates. So what happened, my bungee broke and my hood flew up and hit me up my window. So busted my windshield and everything, and bent to the the things holding the hood on and all that stuff so it wouldn't close. So what I did, like Ball was saying, I did drill my car hood, and I put some big giant bolts up on, because I wasn't sure like where I could even put them. So I bought a bunch of big giant washers too. So yeah, ended up getting it, and I just took a giant wing nut. I just wing nutted on.
Is the funniest thing. So yeah, we're not car guys, and
So
apparently Kilted's not a good with inanimate objects.
so she doesn't think because I did such a good job on that, or she's concerned about my the workmanship.
Yeah, I think maybe the workmanship. And I said, but look at his table. And she's
Yeah.
like,
I've come a long
yeah.
way since then.
She's like, yeah, still. I don't know. I was like, okay.
We'll have to see. Well, we'll see how everything turns out.
She goes, he might just want to pay somebody. I'm like, maybe. I go, maybe he will. We'll
Hmm.
see.
Yep.
I go, it's a fun project.
Hmm. It's very fun.
I go, I don't know if I would trust me to do that. So it'd take up some courage. So see, people, we do have some fear. Right?
Hmm.
Like I'd be nervous about getting into that. So anyway, talking about cars. So two things I wanted to talk about cars. First, Kilton and I found a new obsession,
Yes,
and that is Rocket League.
it's been
So
fun.
I've been having a great time playing Rocket League. It's been awesome. And I remember I think I started playing Rocket League in like 2015, which is like 8 years ago.
Hmm.
And I probably played it on and off. And I think it's why I bought that controller, actually. I think it was for Rocket League. And I think I played it all the way up until like 2018. And for some reason, I stopped playing. And I didn't play it a lot. Like it was hit or miss.
Hmm.
Like now, you and I are playing it a lot.
Yeah. You introduced me to it, but I only had my keyboard and I had been out of games for so long. Like it looked the idea I thought was really cool, but I wasn't ready for it.
Well, and the interesting thing when you and I were playing together was people in the room. Like I'd always want people to watch it because I think it's awesome to
Hmm.
watch, but they never would. And then all of a sudden, you'd hear them start being like, "Oh," or "Nice," and they'd be
Hmm.
watching us play.
Hmm.
Like it's a really watchable game. Like even if you
Yes.
don't know anything about the game, everybody understands like soccer, hockey, basketball type stuff. And that's kind of the game it is, but with cars with rockets strapped on them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been a great time. So, maybe we should stream that sometime so people can watch it.
Could,
But
could.
Kilton and I are liking it and we're getting better, which is
Hmm.
also exciting because we were not very good starting out. And like we won more than we lost today.
Yeah.
So, and the other day we finished second in a tournament, which felt really good. Not because we were good though, but because we had a teammate who was
Our teammate was amazing.
good. So, so good. So, but yeah, that's kind of exciting and it's fun. So,
Hmm.
yeah, Rocket League, check it out. It's a fun game. It's on like everything, which is, I
Yeah.
also think is rare for games. Like it's on the Nintendo Switch, it's on the computer, it's on, I think you can do it on your phone, honestly.
No, the phone app is different.
Oh, is
It's
it?
not the actual Rocket
And you
League.
can
Yeah.
do PlayStation.
Hmm. Yeah,
Like
it's kind of like Skyrim. It's on everything,
it's
which is
on,
smart by then.
but which is different is you can cross platform all of them.
That's the
So that
crazy part.
so you right now, what do you play on right now?
PS5.
So he plays on a PS5. I'm playing on my computer, and
Hmm.
it works out great. Works out
And I
really
have it
well.
on my Switch as well.
And Cal has a Switch, and it's a easy enough game that like Cal can play it and enjoy it, right?
Hmm.
And he's 5, so
Yeah. Yeah, Morgie just likes to run into people. He makes it usually like 2 out of the 5 minutes of the game.
yeah.
So,
Cal normally makes it like 2 or 3 games, and then he's like, "I'm
hmm.
done."
Hmm.
Which is still, I'm like, that's awesome, right? Like
Yeah.
play a couple games with the kiddo, and we have a good time. So yeah, it's a fun game, and give us a comment, shoot us a tweet if you want us to start streaming it.
Hmm.
So we
Or
do
if you
have.
want to be our friends on there, that'd
Oh
be
my
fun to
gosh,
play
if you're
with our
already
listeners as
playing it,
well.
if you're
Hmm.
already playing it and you want to be friends with Kilted and I on Rocket League, we'll be friends. We'll even
You
teach you how to play.
you might be able to find us under Kill the Dragon Chair or Ballbuster. Oh wait,
Yes,
not Ballbuster on there, are you?
I am, but it's like different Ballbuster. It's like Raven and it's Ballbuster.
Oh, okay, you're both.
I think, I don't know, maybe I'll see how to like make it. Like on my screen, it shows both.
Yes.
Um, Interesting side note about Rocket League, and it's something that's been true about a lot of games we play. Do you realize you have NFTs in that game?
Well, they're not necessarily NFTs, are they?
I
Can
would,
you sell them?
I, it, NFTs don't have to be sellable.
As in a non-fungible token. Yes, I did
They are
realize that.
non-fungible tokens.
Hmm.
And yes, there are some that are tradable. Like when you do the blueprints, those are tradable. And if they're tradable, that means you can sell them.
I guess you can trade offline to people, can't you? Or even because there's even a thing that says trade with other players.
Yes.
Hmm.
So, yeah, the difference is, and this is the thing that I think is funny when people are like NFTs, that's so dumb. I'll just click it and copy it.
Hmm.
Video games are a clear case example of NFTs that you pay money for and you never plan on getting any money
Hmm.
back. Right. So,
If I could go on somewhere and buy some of those bodies or some of those gold explosions that I've seen, I would buy them in a second. Not even
yes.
think about it.
And I used to do that. Like I said, when I played like League of Legends and Dota and
Hmm.
stuff like that, I would sell and buy those, and people would be like,
Hmm.
NFTs are dumb, and
Hmm.
I'd be like, I've literally been doing that for like 10 years. Well,
Yeah.
that's different. Those are in-game things. They're literally what an NFT is, literally.
Yes. Hmm.
So it's just a different contract system,
Hmm. Yes, that's the big difference, the contract.
but it's the same premise.
Hmm.
So
No, I agree.
Yeah, so Rocket League has a lot of fun stuff. Our video games that we like, some
Hmm.
car smash and action, some competitiveness, and NFTs all wrapped in one. And it steals our money. So, I
Hmm.
that's the other thing about Rocket League, people, it's free.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, you
then
don't have to pay the extra. I mean, I paid the $25
I
to be able
and
to get the bonus points
I
and
did
stuff.
too, because I
Hmm.
wanted the NFTs. And
Hmm.
honestly, for an NFT, $20 is cheap. So
Well, not now. Have you looked lately?
no, no. Maybe I should stock up on some NFTs. I don't know.
Although speaking of, did I talk about on the last episode the newest gift that came out for the Gift Goat 10?
I do not think you did.
Okay. So I couldn't remember when I got that info. So Gift Goat 10, we got the information for it. The gift is let me get this right if I'm going to give a shout out here.
Give it a shot.
Anthros, Anthros. They are a gaming slash office chair developer. Blah, blah,
Okay.
blah. You get better posture, but we got that chair. It's a $1,500 chair. We got to
Nice.
customize it however we wanted, blah, blah, blah. Of course, I got mine with the gift code on it. And then the NFT is going to be one of one rookie cards of Booga.
Really?
Speaking of gaming, yep.
So one of ones of him.
There's going to be 555 one of ones, so each is going to be different. But and that's his rookie card. He doesn't have a card. Anyone who listens, if you're into gaming at all, you'd know who he is. And I thought that was pretty awesome.
I think that's like super awesome. Super
Hmm.
cool. So yay for gift goats.
Hmm.
The gift that keeps on giving. And I'm sure Jason's not sad, but I wonder if he misses sometimes his gift goats.
He'd have nowhere to put his chair.
He'd have nowhere to put his chair. That is great. Great
Although I'm
point.
gonna have to start sitting down, I guess.
I'll use it for you. Send it up
Oh,
here.
okay.
I'm
Sweet.
sure it's awesome. You can store it. I'll store it for you. You
There you
don't have
go.
any storage down there in
Yeah,
the
exactly.
warehouse. So I'll do it for you. So the other thing I wanted to talk about today, and hopefully we have time, if you've been following the podcast for a while, Kilted used to have a Tesla,
Hmm.
right? And I believe we talked on here about when you got rid of the Tesla and you switched to other stuff. My question now, so when I visited Kilted, I kind of spent some days with him doing what he does on a normal everyday basis. So I got to kind of watch him. And one of the things that you can't appreciate until you do it is how much stupid ass driving you do everywhere. Kilton does a lot of driving, which like to do it for a day or two, like was sweet. Like that was a lot of fun. If I did that every day, I would have issues. Now, maybe I'd listen to podcasts or find
Hmm.
books on tape or something, but it's one of the reasons why I live where I live, right?
Yeah,
Like I switched jobs, careers early because I wanted one that was close to where I live. Like I
yeah.
literally switched jobs. So I didn't switch jobs for pay or like that. I switched it so I could be closer to where I lived because I didn't like the driving.
Hmm.
But you drive all the time. And the part that's interesting is like you're burning tons of money on gas,
Hmm.
right? And you bought a Kia to get better gas mileage.
Yep. Well, that
And
I bought, yeah, because I didn't want to drive the Tesla. I had
because
the
you didn't
Kia
want to
before I
drive the
got rid
Tesla.
of. Hmm.
And now you got rid of the Tesla, which the Tesla, one of the things that was good about the Tesla is it gave free charges if you charged at one of their stations for you. Nowadays,
Hmm.
that deal's not a thing, right?
Yeah.
But you had that deal. So you could be driving all of these places for free. And so the question is now, like, where are you at with all the pros and cons of switching? Now it's been long enough and you're driving enough that you have a good feel of the good, the bad, and the ugly. So talk to us about it. Talk to us about the switch, things you miss, things you're glad are gone,
Well,
all of that jazz.
I definitely miss the instant power. Of course, if anyone's driven an electric car, that's the pretty amazing. So I haven't been to the point yet in my new vehicles where I've had to replace tires, but the Tesla tires were super expensive.
How expensive? Can you give us?
Um,
Are
I
they
can't
special
remember.
tires?
Yeah, yeah, they have to be able to withstand the weight. I mean, you can get them at like
Oh,
you can get them at Discount Tire, but like you have to be able to withstand the because the
because
car's
Teslas weigh a
so
lot
heavy
more.
because of the battery.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't miss the
Do you remember how
kids
much a tire
feeling
costs?
sick. I want to say it was like 400, which I guess isn't that crazy. It just
400 per tire.
seemed per tire.
Okay. That's pretty, that's
I'd have to look
expensive.
back. Yeah. I was thinking it was 8, but I don't think it was 8 the last tire I got. I think the first time we got tires, it was more than more recently when I got tires.
Right, right.
So, probably because there's more out there, more people were making the tires and all that. But I don't miss the kids being sick. That was a big reason of getting rid of it was, if we're out and about at all, the kids wouldn't feel good. So, and we
Right,
talked about that on older episodes where it is actually a thing where some people are more susceptible to the car sickness
right,
than others. Um, yeah, the gas does suck. Like, I have to stop and get gas now where I didn't before. But I don't have I'm not stopping random places and charging either.
right. I
Because
was gonna say you'd probably have to stop and charge either
because
way,
it
right?
was I only had the charger here at the house for a few months before we got rid of it. Because I didn't install it when I first came here. I
All
didn't
right,
have a spot in the condo for it. And I could charge at the warehouse, but it was a 50 amp charge. So it was just slow, not as slow as like plugging it outside,
right.
but I only had the charger here at the house for a little bit. Now, that being said, I still have my deposit in for a Cybertruck, so when that time comes, I can make those decisions. Like, am I going to get it? Will there be the same issues or not? I don't know, but I still drink the Tesla Kool-Aid, I would say.
Yeah, so you still like it, but there were definitely some negatives with it. By the way, if you go to Discount Tire, it looks like tires range from 164 each to 545 each.
Okay.
Just on the first page, I did a quick search of their
For
best
Tesla
sellers.
tires?
No, just tires.
Oh, in general.
So
Okay.
you're trying to compare 400
Yes.
a tire. So those are
Okay.
top end tires, it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that
Yeah,
seems about right.
right in that range.
Um, so yeah, definitely some like pros and cons. What about would you stick with Tesla or would you go with like our buddy Fred? He just documented his journey on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
He did spring break. He has all electric cars now. His wife
Okay.
does and he does.
Mm-hmm.
And so they went for spring break using their electric cars and he documented the journey.
What does he have? Do you remember?
Yeah, two electric cars,
Okay.
two different ones, not Teslas,
Yep.
right? Well, and
Do
that's
you
the other
know
thing. You
do you know
didn't
how
have,
far he could get?
I don't know,
Okay.
maybe 300 miles.
Okay. So about
Um,
the same.
the other thing that people should probably realize when we're talking about Teslas, and this isn't to say one's better than the other because, like, I'm not a car person,
Mhm.
but the Tesla you had was a high end luxury vehicle,
Yes.
in my opinion. And the other vehicles you have, maybe the Boxster could be considered that, but the others are definitely not high end luxury vehicles.
No.
So they're not going to have the same cool factor.
Yeah. I
Right.
mean I mean especially with the doors and everything, people would see that and they'd freak out, or
Yeah.
especially up in Michigan, which was surprising because there weren't a lot of Teslas up in Michigan
Yeah.
because I mean I don't know if there are dealerships now, but when I had first gotten mine, it was illegal for Tesla to sell their
I
cars
think
up
they
there.
made them still illegal, but there's more here. Because
Yes.
the thing that's dumb is if I want a Tesla,
Hmm.
and this is what's dumb about passing a law like that, right? Nobody goes and buys a Tesla on a whim.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if I wanted to a Tesla, like if I was like, I'm getting a Tesla, I'm gonna Look, oh, you're telling me that the hour drive to get to Indiana or whatever
Hmm.
is going to keep me from getting it? Are you kidding? The last car I drove an hour to go get,
Yeah.
right? And that car came from Wisconsin. They had to ship it from Wisconsin to here, and then I had to drive an hour to get it from the dealership I went to.
Hmm.
And so you think me driving to Indiana is going to keep me from buying the car I want?
Yeah.
Where's your
It's just
freaking
hurting.
mind?
It's just hururting the taxes for the state and all that stuff.
Right.
But it,
So
it's that's all part of politics, though.
Illinois is going to get my money, or Indiana or Ohio.
Hmm. Yeah.
Stupid move. Stupid move. Which I
Hmm.
thought at the time when they did it, they're like, oh well,
Yeah.
we want to help the auto dealers. You're not helping them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If people are going to buy that, which by the way, right now, Tesla is overstocked.
I think everyone's overstocked, I would imagine.
It's so weird because there was such a shortage, and now
Hmm.
everybody's over, which is probably good because I need a couple vehicles, and so I'm hoping the prices will
See, that
drop.
works out. Prices will start coming down.
I hope.
So yeah, I mean, I've looked at other electric vehicles. For me, the infrastructure that Tesla has and maybe like, I've seen random chargers all over the place. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, if you're driving down the highway, you can there's a lot of Cracker Barrels you can stop at. You can plug into the charger, you can go eat, blah blah blah, get back on the road.
Yes.
If you don't have the Tesla, if you have one of the other ones. But the infrastructure that Tesla has and the map and where it has all of them listed like that easy. I don't know if I'm driving a Rivian truck on their map, if it shows all the chargers that I could go to.
Yeah, so it's interesting when they like I didn't watch a lot of his documentation, but we did talk about it a little today.
Hmm.
When he took his trip, because I was like, the Tesla like plans out all of your stops for you. And he said theirs did too.
Okay,
Like
cool.
he goes, it plans out what you got. He goes, but I noticed on his feed, like he would say things like, you'd have to reserve the like level one chargers. And sometimes you'd get there and they'd all be booked. And so you'd be stuck using a level two. So
Hmm.
the chargers for electric go one, two, and three, one being the fastest, right?
I don't know. I've only used a couple non-Tesla chargers ever.
Okay.
It was just random.
Yeah. So anyway, that's like a thing.
Hmm.
Um, but it's always interesting. We have another friend with an electric car, good friend, um, wife of one of our sometimes listeners, but she bought one. And the funny part to me is she doesn't drive it.
No?
Well, she does, but they don't have a supercharger in their house.
Uh-huh.
So it takes forever to charge.
Hmm.
And she works like an hour and a half from home.
Hmm.
And in the winter, it can't get you the 3 hour drive.
Yeah.
And there's chargers up here. Obviously, we have lots of chargers,
Hmm.
but they won't, they're too far away from her work, I think. So,
Oh, wait, that got the new Ford one.
mhm.
I thought you were talking about a Tesla one.
No, they got
Yes.
the Mustang,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? Which I'm sure is awesome.
Hmm. But yeah, if you can't charge it, it's tough, which is an issue with all the electric cars anyways.
Well, and
There are
it's an
some
issue in
spots of the
Michigan.
United States, like if you're in a weird spot,